Everybody, and welcome back. We're back. We've got a new series. We're back into GT3s. I'm Mackenzie. I'm joined by Charlotte this evening.
Hey.
Hello, welcome back. We've dragged you back once again.
I think it's just official now.
This is just it now.
Yeah,
I've not dragged you back. You just didn't leave.
Yeah.
So really excited. Thank you to all of you for tuning in. A couple of you here already. Paulina's here already as well in chat. One of the regulars watching away. I'm going to get this out there straight away for seeing as she's made the effort to be straight on. Happy anniversary, Paulina. We appreciate that Danny's racing tonight and you're here watching on your anniversary. So good stuff. We've got a lot of exciting stuff for you. If you're new to this, we're a sim racing community. We do a few other things as well. And it's just been so nice to see this growing over recent weeks. And we had a few weeks off while it's growing and everyone's getting ready. And then here we are for rounds 1 and 2 already for our new GT3 championship. So round 1 tonight and 2 as well. So rounds 1 and 2 is at the Kyalami circuit. A circuit originally developed in the 60s, big revamp in the 80s, and it's been growing in popularity ever since in South Africa, near Johannesburg sort of region. So sort of fairly newish track to see on calendars for series, but like I say, it's just been really growing in popularity. The drivers love it. We've got some new drivers in and lots to be excited about. I mean, there's loads of stuff we could talk about, but anything that you want to go to first? Yeah,
no, I just think it's been really good. Like you say, we've got some new drivers in and we want to make sure that we pay a lot of attention to. I don't think it's fair to call them rookies because they're kind of not, but some are. But we're going to spend a bit of attention on them. Some of the other guys, it seems like time-wise, have kind of gone another level forward again, racing-wise. And I know that Mackenzie, he'll talk about this more in a bit, but we're actually going to start putting success balance in now to try and mix the championship up a little bit because we know that we've got the ever dominant Stallmans in it. We've got Chrissy Palmer back as well, which is great news. So yeah, we're going to mix it up a little bit and see how that works really over the next couple of weeks.
And Chrissy, I felt, was a bit robbed last time that he had technical issues. No, it wasn't technical issues. He couldn't get on. He couldn't make it in the end after putting the time in to go so fast. Yeah. And I was just looking to my side here and refreshing my other screen. We have a few screens around us now. It's the setup's growing every week. But that means I can see what all of you watching say in chat. So if you want to message, say hello, give a shout out, all that stuff, we can do it and we can keep an eye on it. And one of the things that's really important or quite cool is that everyone watching has a vote to give the driver of the day, and the driver of the day will get 1 championship point. So this is a 4-track and 7-round championship because the last round is 1 big race. All the rest of them are 2 races at each track. So you'll be able to give a driver of the day vote, give them a championship point, and when this starts getting close to the nitty-gritty end at the other end of the series, all the points add up and can make a big difference. So do tune in and help.
Be committed to it. I just want to butt in there. Sorry, Mackenzie, but hi to Holly. I think Holly's a new viewer as well. She said, "Hi guys, my boyfriend is racing today." Holly, let us know who that is because we can make sure that again, camera time and things like that, that you can actually see what's going on. Because I think it's important for you guys to know we see what you see. So as much as we've got different screens going on, that's because we're managing seeing what you guys are saying to us and things like that. So we need you guys to kind of guide us a little bit so we know what Ben Meikle what he needs to put on in the background for us to have a look at.
I forgot to say actually, we've got new team, new drivers, we're ready to go, and Ben Meekle's in the background with a trusty cannon monster somewhere ready to watch.
Something's never changed.
He's the race director in the background. He'll be making all the cameras and everything do their stuff as we go through the night. But yeah, like Charlotte says, get involved in the chat. This makes this so much more enjoyable for us than it already is, just having people to chat to and interact with. So we're here for that. It's all about just having a good time, having a bit of a laugh, and the guys in the game love it as well. So right, we best get on with timings, because qualifying has basically started while we're chatting, and then we jump into that as it starts heating up. But if you're new to this will help you out to understand what's coming up tonight. So we have 2 races, and those will be every Tuesday for the next 3 weeks. And then on the 4th week, it will still be a Tuesday night, but it will be one long special endurance event.
We are having one night though that's a different night.
One night is a Wednesday, you're right, in the middle somewhere at the moment. So all of that will be available on our Discord, which you can join and look at anywhere if you want to find out more. Just message us on socials. You'll see it all on there, and we'd really appreciate any follows and likes and subscribes and all that usual sort of jazz that people bang on about. So that's the only plug I'll do on that front. We've got qualifying that's just started. There's basically a small interlude for a few minutes between qualifying and race 1. The race lasts for 30 minutes, and then the drivers have a short break. As we could just see one of the newer drivers having a bit of a drift there on the smaller screen at the side. We'll get to all that in a minute. And then, after a short break, give the guys a chance to sort of reset, maybe quickly try a setup change, literally 5-10 minutes while we chat to you. They'll then get ready to go and do it all again with another 15-minute qualifying and another 30-minute race. And usually we're wrapped up somewhere around 9:30 p.m. in our time. I have to remember now, we've actually got people joining from some really random locations around the world, which is cool. One of the new drivers is from the Czech Republic tonight.
I wouldn't say that's random.
Not random, just cool.
Just say it's another location.
So we've got. It's nice to have something different other than another Scotsman in the lineup, because we've got a few of those at the moment. So okay, everyone, that's what's coming up for tonight. Let's jump into qualifying and see what's going on then, shall we? Because the drivers have already been setting some laps. And as I say, it's the Kyalami circuit. It's a really cool circuit, quite fast and flowing in places. And most of the curbs here, you'll see the drivers can use a little bit. But there's one particular curve that I would draw your attention to. It's the second to last corner on this 16-corner lap. And it's got one of those wonderful sausage curbs that you sometimes hear us talk about that just catapults the car into the air. Sometimes great fun for us to watch, but a complete race ruiner for the drivers on the track. So currently on pole, no prizes for guessing who that is at the moment. Provisional pole is D. Stallman. So if you've been watching this, he was our GT4 Series champion. So he'll be looking to go ahead and do the same thing again for our GT3 Series. One of the 2 members for Team Vega Sim Performance, racing with his father, Roland. So 2 German drivers from Osberg. So, a couple of Germans in the server. We've got, like I say, Daniel Cedro from Czech Republic has joined for the first time tonight. Jack Taylor is another of our new drivers who we saw on the screen, on the smaller screen a moment ago. We've got Billy Page as well, and Logan Dennis have also just joined us.
Holly's his girlfriend, she just said. See, I keep an eye on things from the girlfriend's point of view, because I sacrifice a lot of my time for this. I know you guys are as well, so it's important.
Good stuff. Well, there you go, Holly. We'll make sure we keep an eye on what Billy's up to tonight. I know they've been practicing quite hard. No, he's in 4th at the moment. So why don't we have a little look at the Lamborghini? And that's one of our new teams. Are you ready for this? As we go through the evening, Charlotte and I are going to have to remember not to say this too quickly. The Cupid Shunts is the name of this team. So the number 18 car of Lamborghini of Billy Page going across the line, then beginning another lap. Only 7 tenths off of Chrissy Palmer at the moment, who has actually just pipped D. Stallman to provisional pole. So couple of the usual suspects in there, but a nice new name in the middle of that as well. Dee Turner isn't a member of our main group or community in our Discord, so that's another interesting thing to note here. Unlike a lot of servers that race in this game, Assetto, Corsa, Competizione, we allow public members to join, or pubbers as we call them, to come in and join the race and fill up the numbers if there's any spaces spare. But to be fair, we're up to 30 drivers now, which is the most I think we've ever had on the grid. So the server I think Danny Price might have sneakily upgraded the amount of slots we have by the looks of it.
Can I just say as well, I'm going to put my thing in this. I shouldn't be biased, but I'm 100% rooting for Danny Price. He has been so unlucky the last few races that we've done. So I've literally got fingers, toes, everything crossed for him, because he was fast last time round as well, wasn't he? And he just got a little bit he just got unlucky, didn't he? So
yeah, but he actually got spun round and then absolutely walloped again by somebody else. So completely not his fault at all. Tell you what then, so lucky for us, Mr. Race Director in the background, Candy Monster in hand, is able to jump into the onboards of these cars upon our request. So you can ask us to do stuff like that as well. So if I could ask Ben, if we jump on board with Billy Page here, and we go for a lap on board.
Yeah, and that's why Ben's swearing at us in the background.
Yeah, he loves swearing in my ear, so if here we go then. Perfect timing, because he's just coming out of the last corner. And he has to scroll through the cameras manually. It's kind of the way the game works, so cut him some slack on that one. So we go across the line then, and turn 1 isn't really a turn 1. It's called the kink there. You see, he barely has to turn the wheel at all. Then heavy braking down into turn 2, which is Crowthorne Bend. You can use a bit of this inside curve. It looks nice and appealing. Then fast right-hander as we go through the next section of the lap, jig-side sweep, and then into barbecue this fast left. Then you hurtle up the hill a little bit before we then drop downhill again into one of the hardest corners on the lap, I would say. This is called Sunset. The car, you kind of need to carry as much speed as you can, but it also kind of wants to step away from you and spin around a little bit as well. So you've got to be kind of mindful of that stuff. Then again, back down into gear 2 or 3, depending which car you're in. Get the power back down because you then got another little bit of a run up a short straight before the next little braking zone through the S's here. Fast chicane drops downhill as you do it. Now that means that the car goes a little bit light. If you imagine it's going downhill as he goes past, not sure which car that would have been. It looked like a new one of the Porsches. And then we've got a very important hairpin here that then sets us up to run all the way down this hill into the final sector of our lap.
Can I just say the corners, corner names for this track are just absolutely insane. I absolutely love them. Cheetah, Barbecue, Sunset, amazing.
Speaking of Cheetah, that's the hardest corner on the track, if not Sunset, where you have this big sausage curve. See on the inside there? We'll keep an eye out for that later. Look at that. He's demonstrated that perfectly for me.
Oh, poor Billy.
Poor Billy, yeah. But that was looking like a good lap until then, and decides to go into the pits and have a bit of a reset. So it's nice to see a Lamborghini in here, though, because we've not had one for a while. The drivers are able to do that in qualifying, so he should absolutely be pushing like that right now to try and get better laps. So no issues really for him with that one. If he does that in the race, he'll probably be kicking himself a little bit more. But so yeah, what you're looking for, and I'll point it out when you have more time in future, is there's a yellow sausage curve on the inside, and it's like a big concrete lump painted yellow, and it's to stop drivers exceeding track limits. But it does mean when they do just cut it a bit too much, which is easily done, the car gets launched up into the air and spat off. So I think that was a little bit of a different situation there, but still something to be aware of. There he is then, Mr. Danny Price. Charlotte mentioned him a minute ago. We've just jumped away again. But I was going to say it's one of the Sheba Garage teams, one of the, the first team, the original team to join our InGear Motorsport League. And that's now Dean Murray on your screens, number 77. Sort of goldy yellow coloured car. And what you'll be looking for is on one side of these, they've got a little picture of a Sheba dog. Annoyingly not the side we're looking at the moment, but wait till he turns into turn 1. There you go. Just about caught it there. And yeah, Sheba Garage comes from the sort of founder of the team, I guess, Neil Kidd. Has a Sheba dog called Harambe. So there you go. That's the team boss. And I actually should mention as well then that John Kidd, another regular to our stream, he's joined for the first time tonight as well. So let's quickly find him to say hello, shall we, on the leaderboard, see how he's getting on. Maybe we'll actually talk about who's looking like they're going to be on pole in a moment. Welcome back to Sharman. We just saw on our screens there. As mentioned, we have to kind of click through these one by one. So when you have a 30-car grid, it keeps Ben on his toes in the background. There you go. So John Kidd, they're in the Ferrari now. When we first started, the Sheba Garage guys were using Aston Martins. So a little bit of a different setup from front engine to a rear engine car. Makes it quite different to drive, different driving styles. And like most, they've been working away and practicing. Some more than others, I would say. I think these guys have done a few races on other tracks and things in the week just for a bit of fun, whereas you've got the likes of the Stallmans who are hardcore practicing the track that we're racing that week. And, that kind of shows when you then look at the leaderboards, I think, a little bit in qualifying here. You can see Stallmans are right at the sharp end, as is Chrissy, who I know has put a few laps in on here, driving the Porsche for the first time as well. So welcome to John. It's good to have you on board finally. Didn't quite make it for the last race after his PC order got held up. So good to see him on here. Now, if we jump back to the sharp end again, Ben, please don't hate me. And we'll see if we can figure out who's on pole for the final minute 40. So when that timer clicks down, we're basically in qualifying at the moment. If anyone's new to this, this is to determine the grid order, so where everyone's going to start for the first 30-minute race. And when that timer clicks down, the drivers can still finish a lap that they are on. So once it goes 0, it's not necessarily over. Actually, I was a bit worried about this becoming a Porsche fest, and although there's a few, there's a nice mix out here, isn't there? Including an Audi currently on provisional pole of a stonkingly fast lap time, 41.0, which is Dashtan. So Dashtan, he's it always seems to be the way that a pubber just joins our servers on race nights and sets blistering hot times. So keeps the guys on their toes, though, but we'll see what D. Stallman has to say about that. Currently 4 tenths off. Chrissy Palmer currently a couple of tenths off of that. I mean, we were talking about a 41.8, 41.9 being a fast lap time before we started tonight, and that's a 41.0. So extremely, extremely fast on the lap times. So there goes another one. Beaudeneur, another Porsche, number 32 in 2nd place currently. So another thing to introduce, Charlotte mentioned it at the start, it won't really affect this right now, but between race 1 and 2, we'll be adding success ballast for the first time ever in our series. And what that basically means is the drivers that finish 1st, 2nd and 3rd, providing that they're one of the drivers racing in our championship series, that is, they'll actually have a bit of added weight to their car to essentially make it harder for them in the following races. So it's a way of kind of balancing the grid out between the more experienced drivers or the faster drivers. And could argue, you know, it's a bit of a pain for the drivers that do well, but yeah, it certainly makes it more challenging for them, but also brings the field closer together for subsequent races. So you'll notice the timer has just clicked down to 0. Currently, Dashtan provisional pole, Beaudeneur 2nd. Chrissy Palmer has just set in a quicker lap time to go P3. And then Jacko in a Bentley is 4th. D. Stallman down in 5th at the moment, so a little bit of work to do. I mean, for the battle of the Porsches, it's Beaudeneur 2nd, Palmer 3rd. Palmer 2nd, sorry, and Stallman 3rd. But yeah, we've got a Bentley and an Audi up in the mix. And there was a few little snipe comments about, yeah, Porsches being dominant on this track. And so from the non-Porsche drivers in the lineup. But I think already we've had a couple of pubbers come in and just throw some ridiculous lap times in, which is great.
Yeah, and just looking here as well, because like we say, we're keeping an eye on what we're classing as the rookies, not rookies, but new to the championships. That's a really, really good effort. P7 there by Billy in the Lamborghini.
Yeah, awesome effort, really.
Yeah.
Ahead of Steez, who was Steez placed 3rd place in our GT4 championship, and Billy Page is 1 in front of him. So most of the drivers have finished their lap, everyone. So before we do a full grid readout, we're just going to jump to a quick Discord ad. Well, everyone, you join us at Kyalami tonight for rounds 1 and 2. This is the first race starting imminently following the 15-minute qualifying session. The drivers will be doing final setup tweaks before we start the short formation period. And it was Dashtan that took pole and came in not quite at the very end, but certainly a few minutes on the clock left. Beaudeneur, though, snuck in there very much in the last couple of minutes in front of D. Stallman, who actually must have just literally done a very fast last lap to re-overtake Chrissy Palmer for P3. Chrissy Palmer P4, that's our InGear Motorsport driver, one off for tonight. We've got Jack Taylor, who's one of the other rookies or newcomers to just join. Jacko 5th, Turner 6th. Billy Page then got demoted to 7th just after the quicker car of, who was it that done? Stallman done a much quicker lap just at the end there. So that put him in 7th, Steve's in 8th, Heath in 9th, R. Stallman in 10th, D. Price in 11th, Kidd in 12th. Look at that, the Shiva guys together. Dennis, so Logan Dennis in 13th. That's the other Cupid Shunts team member down there. I haven't said it wrong so far, we're doing okay. Clemson 13th, Dan O'Brien 14th. Never seen this track before tonight, apparently in classic Dan O'Brien fashion. Seri 15th, Murray 16th, Daniel Cedro, he's another new player that joined recently, so welcome to him. As we said at the start, Jack Taylor 18th, so we've got two rookies next to each other, Cedro and Jay Taylor 17th and 18th, keep an eye for that. And Kosh 19th and rounding out the top 20, Langevin. So let's quickly, Jay Kidd was down there in 23rd, I think it was as well. Just
that's what you see me scrambling around writing down.
See us trying to nab everything before it goes. Now, the drivers will ghost through each other's very briefly at this point in time. However, once the lights go green, they cannot ghost through each other. They'll have full contact. So, bit of an uneven grid to start with. Let's see what's going on there. That was a little bit, yeah, lots of drivers went a bit too fast there, I think. So you'll see some drive-through penalties coming in, but doesn't look like it's affected the top 8 at least. So Bono and Stallman going neck and neck into turn 1. I think we lost a car right at the start was the problem there. Chrissy Palmer is the orange Porsche on your screen currently in 3rd. Holds a tighter line, manages to get a good run, a good exit. Potentially going to have to look at Steve Stallman, but I don't think he can just yet. They spread out a tiny bit. That's put Jacko in the Bentley down into 4th place at the moment. Billy Page gets a place at the start and is up into 6th, so that's a good start for him. So currently at the moment, Bono in the 1st Porsche. Then you've got D. Stallman in the 2nd. Chrissy Palmer's in the orange-coloured car in 3rd place. Just as our stream starts to flicker, then the Bentleys, they're now going to Sunset Bend, a long, fast right-hander. First opportunity to make a mistake if you're not careful. The cars will be a little bit heavier on fuel potentially now. That Bentley looking very strong on the brakes there into that corner. Charlotte is frantically writing notes about something. I'm looking forward to seeing what she's up to in a moment's time. So we also have a Lexus in 5th place as well, which is D. Turner. So we've got a few manufacturers all up in that top section. Steves is up into 7th. Roland Stallman is in 8th at this moment in time. And then you'll start to see, I think that's Neil Kidd is the first of the Sheba cars, unless I got that wrong. But Billy Page still heading on to 6th. Chrissy Palmer still in 3rd, and D. Stallman still in 2nd. So Stallman and Palmer, they've raced with us a few times before, but Bodena is a pubbo. We've not seen him race with us. This is his first time that he's joined into one of our races. So interesting to see how much of a fight he puts up, and if he can hold this up, because certainly a very blistering opening lap from him so far. But that was Dashtan that disappeared right at the very start there. So I don't know if he dropped out, had a connection problem. But yeah, we lost him right at the last second. So that kind of gave everyone a bit of a place, but it also just made the grid look a little bit funny on the race start there. So car number 46 has a drive-through penalty. They get 3 laps to serve that. We'll find out who that is in a bit once we've figured out what's going on. D. Stallman looking like he's made big inroads already onto Bonar as we begin our 2nd lap of this race at Kyalami tonight. Pat's dropped down once again into Sunset Corner.
Just having a look here.
And then it flicks left into Clubhouse Bend, and then probably the best overtaking opportunities will start to come soon after that as they round out the lap. No sort of mad errors from anyone so far. Everyone keeping it nice and clean, keeping it all sensible and on the track. So that's pretty good stuff. Don't forget, if you're watching in chat, first of all, you can just type and say hello or let us know what you think. Second of all, you can also vote for driver of the day towards the end of the 2nd race, as our stream has very helpfully paused in the commentary box.
Yep, so just checking back here, and this is why I wrote all my notes down. So car number 46 is the Ferrari of S. Cosett. So he's a pubber, so not one of our kind of normal crew that's in here, but he, like you say, he's got 3 laps to serve that drive-through penalty. So it just flashes up on our screen there. So we'll keep an eye to see what lap he takes that on, but, you know, doesn't affect one of our guys, which is kind of one of the main things.
This is one of those occasions where it'd be wonderful to just pause time and take stock for a little bit, but we can't. We have to kind of keep an eye where the battle is. I think we dare just to go back a couple of spaces, or let's just see what happens for this Bentley at turn 1. Because Chrissy's got a Bentley all over the rear of that Porsche at the moment, so he'll be watching his mirrors avidly, waiting to see if the Bentley dive bombs in. The Bentleys are notorious on the brakes. Looks like he's thinking about it. Doesn't do it this time. We've got at least a couple corners before he has another go. So, oh no, as Chrissy runs a bit wide. Every time I go to say we can move on, something happens and it gets closer again.
No, definitely stick with this. Chrissy is very, very good at making that not very wide Porsche actually a very wide car on the track. He's not an easy person to overtake whatsoever.
Bentley has a look into Sunset Curve, goes neck and neck. I think he's going to make that stick, but it's a hard corner. Chrissy could go for the cutback. Chrissy now gets a slightly better run out, but the Bentley shuts it off and closes the door, and that is a move done then by Jacko and the Bentley. Nice move actually by him. That's not a corner where I'd necessarily expect that, but yeah, well called that we stuck with that one for a minute. Right, Chrissy's got a bit of work cut out to do with him. D. Stallman's doing what he always does and just found another gear as the second and third lap kicks in. Let's just take a brief look and dare to go down. Billy Page has got Steves all over the back of him, so that's Lamborghini versus Porsche. Good little fight between these two. Be nice to sit on the rear spoiler of that Lamborghini for a moment, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely, Mackenzie. I'm sure Ben will like to do that.
Yeah. He's so wide on Monster in race control that he done that in the blink of an eye. Right, we're just going to quickly glance at the chat. Anyone there? I don't know if we said hi to Ian Ward. I think you did, didn't you?
I don't know if we did.
I think we did. It's all gone so fast. How have we been in the race one already? Okay, so we have then the yellow and grey coloured Porsche of Fellas Racing of Niall Steves then currently in 7th place, chasing down newcomer Billy Page in 6th at the moment. So Cupid Shunts driver versus Fellas Racing driver. Maybe that's another tick in the box saying it without saying it wrong.
Yeah, I'm just not saying it. So, question for you then, because obviously I don't talk in your Discord chat that much. Is Billy Page new to racing on here, or just new to the Discord chat? Because if he's new to racing, full stop, he's spent a hell of a lot of time on here.
Well, I know they've been trying really hard this week, and it'll be interesting to see how they get on when we go to the other tracks, because they practice this track a lot ready for this week. Yeah. They're certainly newer to this game, him and his teammate Logan. So. I
don't know whether, Holly, if you're still watching, if you can kind of give us a bit of intel there, because that would be good to know as well, because he's putting in a stonking performance so far if he's brand new to this game, full stop.
Yeah. So... Kent-based driver, been to Brands Hatch a few times apparently. I think just to watch, but you never know. Maybe he's done a few track days in his time. Yeah, Charlotte's raced there a few times over the years.
Yeah,
just a few.
Just a few.
They've done a couple. Oh, just drops a wheel there. Hopefully he can keep it going. How the hell did nobody hit him? Oh my god, that was just so close. He stays in the race. Hopefully he can just keep his head down now and make back up some progress. I mean, that was so lucky that he spun there and nobody caught him.
A good rejoin by him there as well.
That was a good rejoin.
Really good rejoin.
Nice
we saw that kick off a bit before.
Yeah, nice job, Billy. Not the best situation for you, but you certainly held that well.
So that's Dan O'Brien.
Dan O'Brien and Danny Price, the two Dannys having a battle, having just nipped through a couple of places up. Let's check in on them, shall we?
Yeah.
So there's Danny Price in 13th at the moment. It's all go, go, go at the moment, isn't it? So that's Dan O'Brien in the sort of grey and teal-coloured Bentley. Neil Kidd was a red Bentley that looked like it was getting out of the way there for some reason, or getting pushed wide. You've then got Danny Price is the car kind of this camera's focusing on there, the Ferrari 159. Looks like the McLaren Heath's having a bit of a battle a few places higher up as well. They're potentially looking like they're going 3 abreast as we go to turn 1. That's Dean Murray leading that pack in the goldy yellow-coloured car. Porsche on the inside of Heath there, pushes him a little bit wide. Heath gets the run for the next corner, but isn't quite able to make it stick. That Porsche of Mavics is looking very, very fast. And already is having a little bit of a look up the inside of Murray as well. Look at this. These guys having a great little tussle as we enter the 8th minute of this race and the 4th lap. We've barely got going, but these guys are doing a fantastic job straight off the bat. You know, it's nice and close. We've had, a couple little bits of spin here and there, but actually everyone keeping it nice and clean. Mavics on a bit of a charge though, definitely coming through, probably a late joiner, didn't get quite a best qualifying lap and just forcing his way through the pack now. Billy Page already onto the back of that pack after his incident I just spotted, which is good to see.
Heath is now...
so Holly's let us know that he has raced in other stuff before, but sort of his first main competition on this. So yeah, fantastic effort. Great to have him on board. Ian just letting us know that no, we didn't say hello.
Soz Ian.
Sorry, we love you really. I must keep my arm
back to this action because
we've got a train forming here. I mean, Dan O'Brien, by the way, not turned a wheel here properly, or so he says, to test this track. So fantastic effort by him to be running 10th, giving everyone a hard time. I mean, he likes to make that Bentley nice and wide at the best of times anyway, so he'll be trying that extra hard to do that to keep them all behind him. So that is Mavic's just already put a bit of a gap out. Then you've got Murray, then you've got Heath, then you've got O'Brien, then you have got Danny Price in the mix there as well. So these guys having a great fight, all part of the regular bunch, all fighting for our championship as Dan O'Brien cuts back to the outside looking to get a better run on Heath. These two had a fantastic battle at Paul Ricard. It did end in a little bit of bumping mirrors, but nobody actually went off out of it. It was more Heath's teammate that gave him a harder time on that one.
Yeah.
O'Brien wasn't able to make that move stick. Now you see that's left him vulnerable to the cars behind of Price, Cerny and Billy Page again. So Billy Page could still get himself back into the points. Yeah. The points run down to 10th. So every driver will be hoping to finish in the top 10 for this tonight. This is absolute bedlam going on so far. I mean, everyone's doing a good job of keeping it clean, but just to keep track of it all is absolutely nuts. This is great stuff by everyone involved. If we could have a quick look at the leaderboard, please, just to see who's where. So that's a great help when it pixelates like it does my end.
So Stallman P2,
Stallman is
P2, P3.
Chrissy P3. So no, that's about where it was. I can't quite make out the gaps, but it doesn't look like it's too close. So
Chris had been overtaken by the Bentley before, and the Bentley doesn't look like it's there anymore.
So Chrissy got back up.
Something's happened there.
Okay, that's cool. That'll do. So let's just keep an eye back on this action again then. As Heath looks at Murray, as you saw going into that corner there, that would have been a hard move to pull off at that section of the circuit, but I think he fought better a bit, and Murray didn't give him any more room than he had to, and it kind of just didn't work out. So Murray, once again, as far as I can tell, highest placed Shiva garage car, which is a great job by him. I wonder what happened to Kicks. It did look like he got forced off a little bit earlier on. It looks like these two have kind of dispatched of Dan O'Brien a little bit, and he's dropped off, and so's Danny Price now, so that just happened. So in the background now you can see the Ferrari ahead of the Bentley, as Heath looks onto the inside of Murray here going into turn 1. Makes it stick. Murray already looking a little bit dangerous over the back end there to have another look back, but I think that is a move well done by Heath. And do you know what, actually, Heath gets a bit of a bad rap sometimes, doesn't he? But that was a nice, clean, well-placed move. So good job to him, putting his way back through and into 9th place. So that's worth 4 championship points. 10th place is worth 3. So you definitely want to get yourself up into that top 10 if you're looking for championship hopes. The drivers do get 1 drop score, 1 dropped round night, so they can kind of discount their best score. So it gives everyone a bit of a second life or a second chance. But you don't really want to be banking on that after the first couple of races.
That has allowed though Danny Price to get all over the back of Murray now, and Dan O'Brien is looking like he's chomping on along the way there as well, doesn't it? So this gang's going to get grouped back up again quite quickly by the looks of things.
That looked like a good little battle as well going on there. I think that was the next packet. That's Mavix now. In fact, let's see. Mavix has now just driven up to Roland Stallman, which is no easy task. Like Roland was standing still. Although Roland is at the back of this pack that looks like it's having a little bit of a dice all of its own. So that is D Turner, N Stees, Roland Stallman. So Stees is the yellow and grey coloured car, as Mavix goes on the inside of Stallman, the sort of grey, white and yellow car. This Mavix is looking very, very fast. You know, I'll be interested to see how far he can go. We're not even half race distance yet.
Yeah, it looks like D Turner in that Lexus as he's not looking the fastest one out of the pack, to be honest, is he? But he's just doing a very, very good job of fending everyone off, which has ultimately bunched them back up. But as you say that, can see that Steez is all over the back of him now, lining him up, and it looks like he's going to go for a move any moment.
And if you're in chat and you haven't said hello yet, first of all, why not? Give us a hello, let us know you're there. Lovely to hear from you and see who's watching along. Don't forget, Driver of the Day vote later on, so have a think about who you think is going to deserve that. As this packed battle still rages on then. So, yeah, I think something that's interesting is that you can have a qualifying lap time. Race director said hello. Look at that. He's absolutely buzzing back there. He's now saying hello on YouTube whilst running the stream. That's how efficient he is. He's laughing in my ear now. These guys, These guys, sometimes you can be really fast in qualifying and then struggle with race pace. That could be due to setup, or you've just not done enough long stints to get used to actually how the car feels over a longer period. The tyres might get a bit too hot, and just 1 or 2 PSI extra in the tyre from it getting hot and the pressure's going up can be enough to sort of slow the car down and make it start sliding or lose grip. So that's another thing to be wary of.
So, as usual, my mum's WhatsApped in to me. Hello. Claire keeping it real and watching us as usual.
Hello, Claire. Good to see you again. Go on, the girls watching tonight.
Yeah, I know.
That Lexus has been doing a great job of keeping everyone behind him so far. Turner there. Really, really impressed with that. But Mavix has now got rid of Roadstall, and he's going in on the inside of Steve's here. That was a bit too late. Luckily, they didn't come together. Still isn't finished yet and just thinks, no, do you know what? I'm going to make this stick at the next corner. Bosh, have that up the inside. Puts Steve's a little bit wide out to the grass there. No love lost between them two on that move, but yeah, firm but fair, I would say. That's cost Steve's not 1 but 2 places in as many corners there. So that was a bit of a bad one for Steve's. He'll be looking to recover from that. Roland Stallman is now then pipped past him up into 6th again. Steve's back into 7th, but Mavix now, who we saw down around the 10th position earlier on in the race, is now up into 5th place at about half race distance. Kind of the star of the show at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Straight away onto the back of Turner. We've got a back marker in the mix there. I just saw a blue flag waving. That's a Porsche.
What I just let him
sure, that was just a bit wild there as we reach half race distance. That lets us very, very aggressive there, I'd say. And now we've got a back marker in the mix. I don't know how these guys are going to get around these next few corners without coming together. Going wide into the first of the S's, gets the inside for the second of the S's here, Mavix. And yeah, okay, back marker gets well out of the way. Good job by him. I think that was a bit of a dodgy place to do it to start with, so he just kind of held it on in there until they got to the S's, and then he went really, really wide.
Yeah, and remember with back markers, and we will start to see this as the race progresses on, it's actually not the back markers' place to move out of the way. It's the faster cars that should overtake. However, there is that kind of unwritten rule where it is safe to just back off a little bit, but sometimes they can get a little bit too nervous and back off too much. That can actually affect other people's racing with it, can't they? So it's just about getting the timing right.
Yeah, it's a fine line, and there's a lot of rules in motorsport that are very, very hard to kind of police just for reasons like that.
Yeah.
This looks like a great battle still, but I think we just need to check in and just see. D. Stallman is just under a second off of Bodena. And then Chrissy Palmer is down 3.2 seconds off in 3rd. So I think Chrissy's struggling a little bit to hold pace at the moment, but D. Stallman very much still in the hunt. So you can see that was the orange car just went through the back of the screen just for a second there. So
yeah, I think it would be good at some point as well if we can check in and see how Jack Taylor's doing. So new to InGear Motorsport, he's running under your banner. So
John Kidd and Jack Taylor, let's go find them, shall we?
Just as our screen freezes. Amazing.
So, John Kidd, remember he started, I think it was 23rd on the grid, is now up into 14th place. So, 4 places out of points and only 2 behind his brother Neil. So, good first debut race on our live stream nights for John Kidd here. Well done to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's an 11th place jump on the grid. That's a seriously good effort. We could see this getting a little bit awkward between the 2 brothers over the championship if he's going to be progressing at this pace throughout.
I mean, it did amuse me. I said something to Neil Kidd when we were chatting the other day about, John's doing pretty well so far. And Neil straight away was like, well, he's done a lot of other racing games, not just this. So I think Neil's already kind of covering himself off there. So,
racing driver book of excuses.
Yeah. Yeah, funny how a few of them are becoming more and more versed in that, actually, as we go along. So Billy Page behind him then potentially had another little incident that's dropped Billy back to 15th. Still, strong show for him for his first time. You've got to remember that these guys, this is kind of, as we say, they're not rookies as such, but it's the rookie race. So they're kind of together having a little battle. So Billy still very much could be the first of our newcomers to finish, which is cool. Let's go find Jack Taylor then. How's he getting on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something that we talk about a lot, and some of you guys have heard us speak about this before, but this community that we're growing, you learn how other people drive, you kind of learn their characteristics. Some might be a little bit more aggressive, some might, be a little bit softer in their overtaking. So that takes a bit of time to get the experience of knowing who you're actually racing as well.
Yeah, and you saw that front pack there. You could see like Roland and Steez kind of getting out of each other's way at the right times, and Murray and Heath like making good moves.
Yeah, and they've done a lot of racing together, haven't they?
And yeah, it does help. Works. So there's Jack Taylor then. He's having a nice little battle with Kozitz in a Ferrari. So Porsche versus Ferrari. So the orange Porsche is the InGear Motorsport car for Jack Taylor. Got a very appropriate sponsor on the bonnet if we can get such a camera angle. I'm sure he's got it earlier on. There you go. Depending on how the quality comes through. Nice little Jack Daniels logo on there for him.
Is that for Jack or is that for you, Mackenzie?
I think that's more for me than it is for him. There you go. So welcome to Jack Taylor. Good to see you racing, dude. Okay, right. Sharman's in 23rd, West Midlands racing car. And Cedro as well behind him. So these two 5 seconds apart at the moment. Now, Daniel Cedro was actually, I saw, setting fast enough lap times to be at least in the mid-pack of this. So something must have happened to him, and we just cannot keep on top of it all with the resources that we have. You know, we sometimes have someone else in the background helping with replays, and that comes in handy for this type of thing as well. But yeah, we kind of, as Charlotte said at the start, we see what you see. So didn't quite get to catch what happened with him, but there he is. Nice livery on there as well. So he's in the Audi R8. The car's going quite round here, and we did kind of just jump past him, but we have mentioned him earlier. Logan Dennis is up there in 19th in the other Lamborghini for Team Cupid Chance. That other Porsche, he actually is almost stopping on track to let people pass now, so that's C. Just C.
Yeah.
Potentially need to have a bit of a look at that one for the next race, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, you can see he's running off the track everywhere, and it kind of goes down to that thing. So to join our Discord, like you say, we welcome everyone to come into it, but we do have a little bit of a safety rating with things as well, don't we? Just to make sure that no one sort of crash out of the race unexpected or anything like that.
So I just got a bit excited there because Christy Palmer's up into second, Dee Stallman's in third, and Sed Pubber is now still leading the race, border now.
And Mavix is up into...
Oh, big sideways moment there for Turner. He was doing such a great job fending everyone off earlier in that Lexus, but now lost a few places. Danny Price up into 9th then. That puts Heath up into 8th, Steve's up into 7th, and kind of it's a bit like Chachunk. You pull the lever on the fruit machine and see where it lands, and they've all just found themselves another place higher up.
Cool. Where did you read that one from, Mackenzie?
I don't know. It's just coming from nowhere tonight. Ben gave me that one when he was high on Monster. Danny Price and Danny O'Brien, or Dad O'Brien, having a nice little tussle once again. Let's why don't we ride on board with Dan O'Brien and watch this firsthand. The hands of Dan O'Brien in the big Bentley. There you go. Sometimes you could almost paint that windscreen red. Just to put a layer of red over it. I think that's how he sees the world sometimes. As they head into Sunset Bend then, with a actually low set sun it looks as well, so very apt. All over the back of this, the Fez then, the Ferrari of Danny Price, Sheba Garage car, currently in 8th. We're riding on board with Dan O'Brien in 9th, number 55, as they go through the S's. The Bentley, you'll notice, can smash those curves even more than the other cars. The big Bentley just eats them up, whereas the lighter, smaller cars like the Ferrari or the Porsche, for example, they can use some of the curves, but yeah, they can't be quite so liberal with them. Danny Price going a bit wide there, but potentially going to get a slightly better exit, I would say, coming out of that. Bentley very good on the brakes. Ferrari kind of very good mid-corner speed and an exit. So it looks like that battle's kind of fizzled out for the moment, but it was looking nice and close. Let's just wait. If you remember earlier on, if you've been watching long enough and you haven't gone away anywhere yet, there's a curb on the inside here with a yellow concrete block. See it? There it is. Bang. That's the one that you don't want to hit. Even in the Bentley, that catapults you off into the gravel pit. So I've not seen anyone hit that yet, but you never know. Somebody might have, and that might cause one or two of the incidents that we've seen. I did see Neil Kidd very wide there earlier on. That might have been what happened, thinking about it. Okay, where's are the battles going? How's Roland Stallman?
Sorry, I've just jumped into some of the Discord chats, and the guys know that I do this just so I can hear what's going on, because we've got so much going on all the time. It gives us a little bit of a hint of what's happening where, and I think that Liam has just had, so Liam Sharman, West Midlands Racing, has just had a little bit of a hug with a wall from what I can jump in and hear. So...
Sounds like the wall won.
Yeah, I think the wall won, yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, race cars don't fare very well against walls. So Rowan Stallman then back in front of Steez. Heath is now at the back of that little pack, 1.6 seconds out. With 6 minutes to go, that's still very much something that could happen. Mabix, though, if you remember, the guy who was flying along earlier on is now up into 4th when he was in 10th or 11th at the start of this race. 1.5 seconds behind D. Stallman. With the pace that he has, that could be pretty damn close to a podium by the end of this race. So currently, as it stands then, we'll be giving 10 kilograms of ballast to Chrissy Palmer and 5 kilograms of ballast to Dee Stallman after this race. But of course, there's 6 minutes left on the clock, but yet a lot could still happen. Pauline is cheering on, watching Danny. She's on Facebook and YouTube now. Committed as ever, Pauline.
She's always so committed, so good. Can we just check in with some of the guys, so if we can go down to sort of the middle back of the pack just to see what the guys are up there, because they're all being pretty noisy in the Discord chat.
So. Wait, Murray. Kid versus Murray. We need to see this. Sorry, is there anything else you want to look for?
No, that's fine. I can hear them all kicking off.
Yeah. So 2 of the 4 Scotsmen that are racing tonight, we usually have a 5th in Michael Curran, who's not here this evening. Sadly, had to relinquish the computer to the children to do some homework, I think was the story.
And I just heard on the Discord chat there, Clemson's gone into the wall, so I'm not too sure what's happened there.
Not seen him on practicing as much lately, Clemson. I think potentially with some of the other guys, but yeah, not seen him on as much when they've been on our practice nights and so on. But yeah, good to see him back. But a bit of a shame he's got in the wall. So this battle rages on with Murray and Kid there. Kid had a bit of a wobble basically while we were talking about that. That's what I was trying to just process. So Kid's rear end stepped out. He managed to hold it, but you can just see he's dropped back 0.9 of a second there, which has just given Murray that little bit of breathing space. But what's interesting is at the start of this race, Murray was kind of at the front end of this little gaggle of Danny Price, Dan O'Brien, Heath and Kid, and then seems to have just struggled a little bit with race pace. So potentially got a bit hot on the tyre pressures or something else just isn't quite comfortable for him during a race distance. But certainly had the lap times in qualifying and certainly had the pace to be potentially a couple of places higher up. These 2 as well, I should emphasise, are fighting for a championship point or 3 championship points now based on our new point scoring system. So currently, David will get the points for finishing 10th as he goes a little bit wide on the way out. Just a smidgen of sausage curb on the inside there. I was chatting with Don Stallman, we were calling it a Bratwurst. The Bratwurst curb. He's now touting for Bratwurst sponsorship if anyone wants to offer it. Being one of the German drivers, it makes sense. Okay, Kid now has got the run on him after just touching that bit of curb there for Murray. He's just put Kid right back in contention. So you can just see you cannot afford a moment's lapse in concentration when you're doing this, because you just go a bit too wide, bounce a bit too much of a curb, whatever it might be, and so suddenly there's a car on the back of you and they want to get past. And it's a real challenge. And even in the real world, it's hard to see what's going on around you. Same in the game. You can these guys are racing in VR, so the mirrors aren't particularly massive. It makes it quite hard to see who's around you and where they are. You get a little bit of help from a little HUD that comes up that you don't get in the real world, but that's about it.
Yeah, so just hearing in my ear that Chrissy's just said that he's gained half a second. Can we just have a little look at Chrissy back at the front end of the pack there? He's just... So we've got 2.5 minutes and he's 2.5 seconds off of the leader. Palmer.
So he's waited until the last 3 minutes to pull his finger out, is what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
So InGear Motorsport car currently in second. He's repping the brand here right now. You can feel me, Chrissy. I'm applying the pressure to you, staring.
So, and sorry, just to butt in again here, is that the leader and Chrissy are both going to start coming up against some of the back markers, one of which is going to be Liam Sharman, and I can hear him going, do you want me to hold him up? Do you want me to hold him up? Chrissy's a very fair driver. He's gone, no. But it happens, doesn't it? It does happen. So this is going to be interesting to see how the next couple of minutes unfold. Yeah.
I've just got Sharman's very West Midlands accent in my head there.
Yeah.
I won't attempt to do it because I can't do that one. But yeah, so Dee Stallman's still on the back of him. Chrissy was racing in the AMG, as was I, until recently, and we had a little go in this Porsche and actually really liked it. And it seems to be working well. So he's currently got a little bit of a gap on D. Stallman, whereas I'd say usually rule of thumb is that would be the other way round when it was Merc versus Porsche. It's just interesting to see when you switch things up a little bit. It seems to be working quite nicely, but still very close in this front end. And actually, I think both of them have had something that's cost them a few seconds here or there, because Dom dropped back at one point from Bodenoa, and then Chrissy dropped back a little bit to now be back near Dom, and now Bodenoa's dropped back. At these two, instead of being 5 seconds behind and 6 seconds behind, are 2 and 1. So it's closing up at the front with the final minute to go. I'll be interested if he is able to get onto the back of him, but 2.8 seconds in a couple laps is going to be a bit of a hard one. But like Charlotte says, look, there's some back markers up there. Bodenoa's catch them and call them.
So again, just hearing in my ear that I think Dan O'Brien's done something maybe a little bit borderline to Danny Price.
The two Dannys clashing then again. We can look in replays afterwards to settle disputes with things like that. So we have like a protest process that drivers can go through. So if there is something untoward there, we can look into it afterwards. Hopefully not. Hopefully racing incident, but who knows? I haven't seen it. I can see Danny Price is still in 8th at the moment, unless the timer screen hasn't updated yet. Can't see where Dan O'Brien is, though. So, still, Bodenoa leads as we head into the final stages of this race. Chrissy Palmer is in 2nd. D. Stallman is in 3rd. Mavics, fantastic drive from him. He's up into 4th place now. Doesn't look like he's made much more inroads into the front 3 than where he was, but considering we saw him down in, like I say, 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that, when we first noticed him charging through, that's a stonking drive by him. So Bodenoa then, he's either on his final lap or about to start it. It just depends on how the game works it out in terms of the timer finishes. Does it give them one more? Does it end? But he's very much at the end of this lap, so it's quite likely he's about to win the first round of our championship. And he's a fast pubber that's joined in last minute. It always amazes me how that can happen. Here he comes then, across the finish line, takes a checkered flag. Bodenoa takes the first round. Chrissy Palmer for InGear Motorsport in 2nd. Dom Stallman, 3rd place, Vegas Sim Performance. Fantastic drive by Mavics to get it back up to 4th place. Roland Stallman, making a very strong points haul for Vegas Sim Performance, comes in 5th. Steve's looking like he's going to be 6th place. Heath, well done Heath, 7th place for him. That's, after some disastrous races and bad luck, it's really nice to see that. That was a hard race. Danny Price, 8th place. Hey, Paulina, 8th place for 8 years.
Woohoo!
How's that? That's a good story, right? Good strong points haul, and that makes Danny Price the highest placed Sheba Garage racing car. Then Neil Kidd in 10th, just behind. Murray in 9th, just behind him, and then Neil Kidd in 10th, just behind him. Danny O'Brien just outside of the points. So, did you say it sounds a bit like he lost the car?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in with the chat and just see what's happened with the guys there, because I can hear stuff in my ears. But
no, that is still racing. I was laughing because I thought that was the in lap. They're both. Who was the car that pushed him?
Jay
Langfin, yeah. Okay, both of those are pubbers, so we won't worry about that. If they were members of our little group, we'd look into that one a bit more. What we can do, Mr. Race Director, correct me if I'm wrong, we could jump in the replay quickly and look at Dan O'Brien's last lap while everyone's finishing their in lap. Yeah. Look at this. This is live race reviewing now for you, everyone. I know. He's managed to freeze his game in the process. You can look. You got all the laps there. 55 you're looking for. So what we're doing, everyone, we can actually jump into the game's replay file and check out what happened at the end there.
Hey guys, sorry, I
think they've just gone into qualifying, so it might have skipped it through.
We will. I heard some bits were just replays.
We will jump through into
we'll do a warning for the next
a bit of a race review in a minute. See if see what we can find out. But to be fair, the drivers have a little break now anyway, so it's quite a nice chance for us just to investigate any little bits like that. Phil Limer's here. Welcome, welcome. Holly Griffiths, well done to Bill. Yes, let's do that, Benny boy. He's in my ear messaging away. So let's just, did we get a full readout there for the rest of the grid before we had to close that off trying to get to the replay, do you know?
Yeah, don't worry about all of that, that's fine. Yeah, don't worry about that, that's fine. That's fine, I'll look
cool, but we did manage to get the top 10. Okay, well, that was quite an interesting one, wasn't it? Charlotte's having a chat with the guys in Discord at the moment to see what she can investigate, which means you've got a nice little chat with me.
Cool.
I've got a message from Jack Taylor, though. What was that?
Okay, I'm just going to jump up, just go back on the stream.
So, got spun. Jack Taylor says he got spun out a little bit earlier on, was at the back, picked up damage, but managed to get back to 18th. So yeah, good little race by him.
I'm back.
Here she is.
Yeah, so I just jumped in and had a chat with the guys just to see what's going on. I think we might have to do a little bit of a warning for driver standards on certain drivers sort of going in. I think there's a few late lunges and things like that. So yeah, we're looking into it.
Any ideas who?
Mr. O'Brien, maybe he's have a little bit of a look into.
Was that a commentator's curse talking about seeing red when we was in the cockpit?
Yeah, I think, yeah. Kind of, we try and look after everyone that's in our Discord chat as much as possible, because obviously we want everyone to come back and have a good time. So we try and keep it hard but fair racing is what we say. And some drivers probably are a little bit harder than others. And I think we talk about this a lot, that it's, like we say, you've got to get used to the driver, but some moves maybe come off a little bit more aggressive than others. And I think, yeah, maybe from what I can hear, Dan's probably had a few strikes that's been viewed by the same group. So, yeah, I'll let you deal with that one. I don't get involved apart from that.
Well, I was just trying to see what I could see being messaged through on Discord. So it's kind of that bit of race where we can just kind of go through its bits. Oh, he has said sorry. Connor's in there. So Dan O'Brien apparently turned his ABS down, which is what stops the brakes from locking up, then must have locked up a little bit and gone into the back of Danny P, which is so easily done because you're braking on the limit anyway. You're not leaving much to spare. So by the sounds of it, that's what happened. And then his brothers kindly chimed in and said, demolition down, strikes again.
That's it. Help his reputation there, Connor.
Connor was meant to be racing tonight anyway. What happened to Connor? Did he bottle out last minute, maybe?
Probably. How's our whisk going?
Yeah, we're loving it, aren't we? We're absolutely loving it. So basically what happens now then, everyone, well, let's jump to the timing so we can have a little look for you to see. But qualifying will be starting very shortly anyway for race 2. So that'll be another 15-minute qualifying. So if you enjoyed that just now, please don't go anywhere because we're going to do the same again. Or if you do go somewhere, come back in the next 5 minutes. So we'll go for a bit of a short break, I think. Have a little look at what's going on, see if we can chat to some of the guys, and then we'll be back with you in, like I say, literally 5 minutes' time after a short break. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We're getting ready then for qualifying two, or qualifying two's just started. We're getting ready for race two here at Kyalami and round two of our championship. So Bodenur had a strong race just then coming in with the win. But as far as championship points are concerned, it was Chrissy Palmer who took the most points in our championship with second. And then Dee Stallman came in third. So usual names at the top end. And then the Shebas were all tussling for the points at the other end of the top 10. Heath got himself a 7th, which was good to see. And newcomer Billy Page right in the thick of it after a bit of a difficult race for him. Jack Taylor, also newcomer, had a bit of a disaster at the start, then kind of recovered back to 18th. Bearing in mind 30 cars started that race. It's a good effort for him as well.
Yeah, really good effort.
And John Kidd as well had a strong race, made up loads of places from where he started. So good little result really for most of the main guys, and a good strong number of different pubbers kind of coming in out of nowhere as well. So as you can see, it's got a little bit darker for this one.
We're fast forward in time.
We've gone fast forward. It's at 8 o'clock in the evening now. If you didn't catch it at the start, this track is based in South Africa, so it's normally extremely hot, and daytime temperatures could be kind of well into the 40 degrees C. Nighttime drops down to around 18 to 20 degrees C. So it's actually more of a normal driving temperature while it's dark at night like this. So the guys might actually find the setup changes a fair bit, and they might even find that they can potentially go a bit faster, or certainly very similar at times to normal. Holly's back, she's all set, she's got a cup of tea and biscuits ready for race two. I'm loving the commitment.
I've got my glass of Pinot ready for race two.
Got the gin and tonic on the go. We're loving life. Everyone's ready for more action. I mean, just Charlotte, well, before qualifying gets too much to the pointy end of this, how did you find that? Because we didn't actually get a chance to discuss it much ourselves.
Yeah, so I jumped off really quickly at the end just to jump in the Discord chats to just check in with everyone, make sure they're all good. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think it's becoming very evident, which is a really good thing, that we probably need like 6 different camera angles at all times to keep up on what's going on. But I think that kind of shows the progression in what InGear Motorsport's been doing, and what the guys have been working really hard on over the last few months now, is that the mid-pack battle is arguably better than the front end, which it's kind of a bit like F1 at the moment, isn't it? You'd rather watch the middle of the pack rather than the pointy end. So no, I think, you know, a really good result all across the board with it. So yeah, looking forward to this one. Something a bit different, night racing. Hope everyone's had their carrots.
It does change things a little bit. Obviously, there's the fact it looks dark, but when you're actually trying to spot apexes, look for curves, look for braking markers, that's all becomes quite a bit harder. And then you might have some other cars' lights in your rearview mirror that's almost dazzling you a little bit. You've actually done more night racing in the real world than I have. So you could probably give more of an insight on that. Yeah, it is really challenging. You kind of think, oh, it's not going to be. I don't really know what you think. You kind of go into it and you think, well, the track's the track. You know the track. You know where you're turning in and corners. But there is loads of different things, like you say, that you have to take into consideration. All of a sudden, an apex that's really, really visible becomes a hell of a lot less visible. And you know, having lights on a car, you can see that this track is not floodlit as such. It's completely different element. It's much more straining on your eyes as well, so you're having to concentrate that little bit more. And when it's the second race of the evening, and you know, a lot of people go, oh, it's not tiring kind of doing sim racing or you know, games like this, and it's like, well, no, it actually is. It's taken a lot of effort up. That, you know, the guys are working really hard physically and mentally with it. So I'm actually hoping this stays night race or night into like dusk, sort of morning, like however it works. It depends how the server's been set. I know. Last minute. Just because, again, that's a completely different element as well, because all of a sudden your eyes have got to change again, and the track temperature changes. The track is very different in the evening to it is during the day. And you can actually see, like you say, the track does change, but it's a very unusual track in the sense that it can arguably be faster in some areas, because of the fact the temperature is so hot in the day, and the fact then we just looked, there's drivers doing 41.5s at the front end of the grid already. Now, the pole time in the last race was a 41.0 by Dustan, who actually left the race right at the start. So of the drivers that are actually here, we're within a couple tenths of the pole time during the searing heat in the middle of the day. So it's like I say, that's a unique thing about this track. You might get a few snakes rustling around at night as well, being in South Africa. That actually happened on one of the GT rounds there, believe it or not. It was apparently years ago, but yeah, a king cobra made its way onto the track.
Yeah, no, I'd not be taking one for the team and going anywhere near that. Yeah, so Ian's just asked a really good question here and says, so do you get brake markers in real life racing? So I'm assuming that you kind of mean at night, and the answer to that question is no. I'll use the example as when I was racing a 6-hour race at Brands Hatch in November, pouring down with rain, freezing cold, seemed like a great idea at the time. But no, they don't change the track. The track is the track. So how you start that 6 hours or 24 hours is not usually how it ends, because markers actually get hit off, if anything. So it gets more challenging as you go through that night period as well with it.
Yeah, that was my point, was going to be that those number boards you see on the outside, they usually get collected at some point by a driver going off track, like Charlotte says, and then you don't have any reference. So
yeah, sometimes they'll replace them, but they don't go out of their way, do they, to make it better for it?
Because the marshals then are running on a live track, so they can't really do that so well. You could argue in a game they could actually make it so that it never disappears, but this game and Kunos, the developers, have really focused on attention to detail and making it as realistic as possible. So, you know, if something happens in the real world, i.e. brake markers disappearing, it happens in the game.
So if a angry 23-year-old at the World Karting Championships decides to go on throw a bumper on, do we simulate that in the race now?
You can't get out of the car, so I guess technically you can't do that, if anyone's seen that news lately.
Yeah, big news in the motorsport world at the moment, so I had to put that in somehow.
It's a bit of a shame. I always find that's the sort of stuff that gets karting into mainstream press rather than the talent, but that's a whole other debate. Perhaps we'll do that for a YouTube video one day.
Who knows?
So there's D. Stallman currently in second, Bodenoa currently in first. By the way, because Stallman and Chrissy Palmer came second and third, they've had ballast applied to their car. So Chrissy Palmer's car is now 10 kilograms heavier and Dom Stallman's car is 5 kilograms heavier. So I've been assured by race control that between Sips and Monster, he's managed to get that applied and done okay. So that's been done. That then levels it out a little bit for the other guys. We're not as interested in the pubbers. Of course, they'll be chasing down the pubbers, so Bodenoa to try and beat him. But then that makes it fairer for the rest of our kind of main crew of Roland Stallman, Kay Heath, Enkid, D. Price, you can see kind of in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th currently, respectively, to come a bit closer. So should keep the championship nice and tight as we progress. The way that will work is every time they finish in the top 3, it gets added to up to a maximum of 50 kilograms. Now, you might not think that's a lot. Well, I guess that's a small adult, isn't it? 50 kilograms riding around in a passenger seat with you. In a race car, that does actually make enough of a difference that you would know about it. You have to brake a tad earlier. You can't get the power down quite so easily. The car won't accelerate quite as quickly, all those sorts of things. So that's why we do that, just to basically handicap them a little bit and make it a bit closer racing. But we've also got the challenge of night. It still looks like a 41.5 is the time to beat, but look at that. Dom Stallman is 800ths of a second off of him. Chrissy Palmer's only a few tenths off, so very close. And then we've got a new driver in an Audi, Schmitat, 3 tenths off of him. Roland Stallman, 5.5 seconds off. So yeah, nice and close.
It's making me laugh. The answer to that question is I can't go into it in full detail live pre-watershed.
What was the question?
So give me 15 minutes. So have you ever had any experiences with other races real life, and like was anyone a complete arsehole? The answer to that question was yes. And she I think she got 9 points or something for it at a British Championship.
That was another girl.
Yeah, it was another girl. She's an absolute psycho. She never raced again since. I'll say it how it is.
Yeah, you do. I've had a few tussles in my time, and I'm a pretty calm person, but it's a bit different when the visor goes down and you start racing. It kind of does. It just changes your mindset a little bit, and things can get a bit heated. But I've had people kind of want fisticuffs and coming over shouting and screaming afterwards. But I've never had an actual fight in a paddock. It usually de-escalates in time or whatever, because most of the time you want to avoid that because you can end up getting penalties and thrown out and that sort of stuff.
That's exactly what happened to this girl. She punched a hole in the clerk of the course's wall. Note to everyone that's ever going to race, never a good idea to do that. I think you're going to get away from it. So yeah.
Right, I've just noticed we've got 3 minutes left on the clock. D. Stallman's chasing lap times here. Shall we ride on board and give everyone a little on-board experience of this track at night? So if we get on board. There we go, that's the one. Oh, we've got helmet cam and everything. So here was our third place man in the first race, currently second on the grid if nothing else changes, rounding out the end of his lap at the moment, and then we'll be starting a lap with D Storman on board. We're going to begin our long hurtle down to Crowthorne. 4.5 kilometre track, and it's one of a few anti-clockwise tracks, Kyalami, so that's actually quite challenging sometimes. It feels unusual to say, but basically more left-hand turns than right. That can be interesting for people. Hard on the brakes, down into second or first gear, depending on the car you're in. Get it stopped, get it turned into turn 1 of Crowthorne. Through the Sky sweep up to the right. Then we've got barbecue left, fast left here. Here's he darts in, bit of curb, not too much. Don't use too much on the outside. That definitely was. You could see he was actually on the grass a little bit there. That will already have put him down. If you look at the top left, in fact, he's stopping. That happens quite a bit when we try and ride on board with Dom for a lap. Where's Chrissy? Let's find Chrissy. He'll be out there somewhere. There he is. Hello, Chrissy Palmer, InGear Motorsport driver. Coming about, where are we? I think he's just dropped through the S's. You can say it's even hard to commentate on it at night. I know, this is literally where Dom, oh, nearly, little moment there. This is literally where we left off with D-Storm, and then coming into Sunset Bend at the moment in time then. 16 corners on this lap, we're approaching halfway then. As he then turns left into Clubhouse Bend at the next. Guess what, there's a big clubhouse on the outside of it. That's where they got the name for that one. Then they've dropped slightly downhill into the S's, slightly off camber, and you'll notice because they're dropping downhill as well, the car can go very light, makes it very hard to get it turned in, and you can very easily swap ends as you get to this sort of point on the track, which we saw caught a couple drivers out in the first race just now. After the S's then, we move up to Leacop. Very important hairpin because it has a very long time on the path. So he's full power now the whole way around the last part of that corner, whole way down here, whole way through this fast left-hander, as we then approach the next section, which is the Crocodiles, which is a tight right hairpin, and it doesn't look too tight. All of a sudden, you've got to get the car right the way over to the right-hand side there. A little bit of oversteer for Chrissy there in the Porsche. That can happen under braking very easily. Here's that cheetah corner with a big sausage curb. Turn 15, and then we've got turn 16 coming up, which is the final left-hand hairpin onto the start-finish straight. And you'll see in the top left, his time says +5. That means his delta is half a second slower than his current best. So he'll be looking to improve on that. And because the timer has 15 seconds left, this is the last chance that he will actually get to do a better lap. Ah, Chrissy actually took Billy around the AMG track at Mercedes-Benz World. That's where we know Chrissy from. Chrissy did say that he told somebody about this and they were thinking about joining Holly.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so that's it. I never actually found out that was Billy. That's really cool. Yeah, no, Chrissy did mention that. Yeah, so that's where Charlotte and I work and know Chrissy as well. How was it there? Did you have a good day out? Did you go out in the car as well at all? Or did you go out as a passenger while Billy drove? Anything like that? Any stories to share?
What's his real life driving back?
Speaking of Billy, there was his teammate Logan Dennis in the other Cupid Chunt's car, the other Lamborghini.
That name, that team name.
It's a good name, isn't it? I actually kind of gave them the idea as well. They just amended it from Cupid Stunts to Cupid Shunts.
Which I'm a little bit grateful for.
So he's in 13th. That's a little bit hard for him. You can see Steve's in 11th, Clemson in 10th. They're teammates as well, the fellas racing guys. Dean Murray down in 14th. Jack Taylor, though, 15th. That's good to see as well.
Yeah, well done.
Well done, Jack Taylor. That's a little bit higher up than where he was in the first one. 29 cars in the grid at the moment. And qualifying is just drawing to a close. Now, you can see when there's a little checkered flag near their name on that bar. That's when that's when they've actually finished their lap. And when it's green, they're still lapping. So, essentially it's not over yet. Let's just quickly see higher up on the grid, and then we'll go to an ad in a second. I just want to see how many cars are still lapping first. So Borges in an AMG currently on provisional pole, 41.4. Look at that. Less than 2 tenths between the first 4 cars. Do you know what? I think that's a good time for us to just make our short break to our Discord ad, and then we'll be with you with a full grid readout in just a moment. in 6th, just as my stream shut off for a second there, sorry about that. Price in 8th, then Kidd in 9th, Heath in 10th, Clemson 11th, Steez in 12th. Loads of our main bunch together. Then Logan Dennis, one of the newcomers, 13th, well done to him. 14th, D Murray, that was the best qualifying that we've seen him do. He'll be looking to move forward. Jack Taylor, though, great performance coming up into 15th in just his 2nd race with us. Hans in 16th. Daniel Cedro, we didn't get to see too much of him in the last race in the other Audi R8, but again, another newcomer. So he's just finding his feet at the moment. There's Billy in 18th. Probably hasn't had as much nighttime running as some of the other guys, because I know a lot of the testing this week's been in the day, so he'll be getting used to racing at night at the moment. Spin Raps 19th, John Kidd 20th, 4 places better than the first one. In qualifying, Buggle 21st, Paramount 22nd, Liam Sharman in 23rd, and Ambro in 24th. Liam Sharman being one of the West Midlands racing cars alongside Heath in the McLaren. So, drivers are ready. They've started their formation period. They go nice and slow for just a moment. Apparently our audio's gone, Ben. Yeah, sure. Be good if someone just lets us know in chat anyway. Thank you very much for telling us that. So, drivers are getting ready to start any second. Lights will be out. You'll see Borges, the green AMG, on the front left of your screens. Looks like he's going to be a little bit too far ahead there for my liking. Chrissy Palmer, the orange Porsche, has the inside line for the first hairpin coming up, neck and neck with D Stallman as they set off. Then you've got car number 93, T. Schmeistat in 5th place. Roland Stallman in 6th on the right-hand side. Schmeistat goes up the inside of Chrissy. Chrissy's on the inside of D. Stallman. That looked very, very close. Almost touching doors there between Chrissy and Stallman for 2nd and 3rd place, but they managed to get around the first corner okay. Something just happened there as our stream flickered off, I think, a little bit between the mid-pack. It's very hard to make out at night who's who, so we'll keep on top of that as best we can. But all sorts of action happening around that mid-pack. And you see Chrissy and Dom Stallman still very much neck and neck heading into Sunset Bend. That's given Borges a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a chance to get ahead. Schmeistat didn't make that move Merck at the start, so he's in 4th. He's got Lahai all over the back of him. Clemson has jumped up into 6th place. Danny Price in 7th. Neil Kidd is in 8th. So few of the main pack there had a big scrap at the first couple of corners. Now I wonder where Heath's gone. That'll be an interesting one to see in just a moment. Let's just scoot back a couple places because these two won't do anything for the moment. So Lahai's there. Look at the carnage, the chaos of lights. So Clemson behind him. Let's go to Price Kidd. See kind of that little gaggle there. So that's Danny Price, the sort of dark grey and green Ferrari that you see on your screen, chasing down Clemson in the Porsche with the sort of white and red colours. So those two having a bit of a scrap. Behind him is Steez, the yellow and grey coloured Porsche. So Danny Price finding himself in a Fellas Racing sandwich at this moment in time. Then Neil Kidd is behind him. So Sheba, Fellas Racing, all kind of quite close together. Logan Dennis up into 10th place for Cupid Stunts. Well done for him in the Lamborghini. Ian Ward just said Sharman's on the gin.
What a boy.
That's I've heard a few drivers' excuses in my time, but that's a good one. Okay, so we'll keep our eye on all this as best we can, just to see. Ian Ward just said Sharman's on the gin. So, still looking at Danny Price on your screens at the moment. Steve's chasing down him, Kidd chasing down him, and Logan Dennis on the back of that little gaggle. Steve's trying to look to find a way past at the moment. Gets a good run on Danny Price. Might be able to make something of this in the next corner or two. Looks to the inside going into Sunset. I think you're going to see a grey and yellow Porsche. No, we're not. Still, the Ferrari of Danny Price holds on to 7th place for the time being. Okay, so perhaps then if we jump to higher up on the grid, let's take a little look just to see how that battle with D. Stallman and Chrissy Palmer's going. D. Stallman looks like he's made that move happen with Chrissy then. So Chrissy's now dropped into 3rd place, 7 tenths behind D. Stallman. So we just missed that there. He did look pretty fiery on the opening lap, but just didn't go for any crazy moves until it settled down. Borges, though, has got himself a 1.7 gap lead at the moment. So we've had someone asking to see position 5 on the camera, but not sure which car that is, from Max Masterman on there.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused by that. Pole position, which is P1, 4, 5, once, mate. So, yeah, let us know who it is you want to see and we can get the camera to you there, but it's not the clearest message, so a little bit unsure what you're asking for us there. Perfect. Cool, so Danny Price then made it up to P6 there with Andy Clipson. So Andy's having a little bit of a better run of it. He's been a little bit unlucky the last couple of races, so found his rhythm there. But if we head straight down to Neil Kidd and Steves and see what they're up to, because Neil Kidd, he was stonkingly fast the last champion, the final race that we did, the 90-minute a couple of weeks ago now. So interesting to see that these guys have gone for the Ferraris, because the last time we did a GT3 championship, the Sheba Racing guys were actually in an Aston Martin. So they've gone from an Aston Martin into a McLaren and now into a Ferrari. So they're not afraid to mix it up, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, quite liking the Ferrari. Then we've got Steves and Clipson in the Porsches for the first time. Chrissy Palmer in the InGear Motorsport car, also in a Porsche now as well. So yeah, a few drivers mixing up a little bit. Heath's one of the ones that's gone to the McLaren after being in the Audi for a while in the past. Oh, there was a bit of an incident there. That looked like Danny Price had a bit of a coming together with somebody. I think we're just going to miss the back end of that now. See who's near him on the screen. Yeah, not quite sure that was. We'll see if we can find that one out. Daniel Cedro's there in 14th. I think it was I saw some kind of a red flash of another car. I wonder if any of the cars kind of just ahead of him is in a red car. We kind of see what you see on this screen, so these night races do make it a bit tricky to kind of make out who's who, but you can just see there, then Danny Price has dropped down to 13th off the back of that incident. Then we've got Schmeistat, who was at the front in the Audi at the start of the race, is also down in 12th. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was them two who just had a little bit of a coming together. Good race by Daniel Cedro, though. Remember, that's his second race with us. So he's into 14th as we see another Lamborghini facing the wrong way there. Don't think that was one of our Lamborghinis. So I think Billy Page and Logan Dennis still a bit higher up the grid for the time being. See Danny getting a little bit all over the curbs there. Okay, let's jump back up to that closer sort of middle pack where it was. I just made note that John Kidd's up into 16th there as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So good race so far from him. Again, this is his first proper race. I think he spent a little bit of a time, but actually he has had limited time in the grand scheme of things, hasn't he? So really good sort of first outing from him there. But then from one kid to another kid. So Neil Kidd's now up in P7, so the first of the Sheba Racing cars there. So with the team manager on the side of all of their cars there, with the little dog.
Yeah, Sheba on the side there, Sarambe. David Murray right behind him. You never see one Sheba car on its own. They always come in twos when we're doing these races.
They are very, very closely matched in time, aren't they? Which is always really cool.
I saw Ian Ward just mention what cars have we driven, or did you drive? You want to go first on that one?
Yeah, so did karting, British national stuff, and then went into Ginetta for a little bit, and then I was with Lotus for a fair few years, so stuff in the UK, and then my last sort of few years of racing was all out in Europe with the odd sort of UK race thrown in, which was always nice to come back onto home turf. It's always kind of sports car side of things, never went down the single seater route, unlike you, Mackenzie, and then obviously we've worked for AMG, so pretty much anything that's an AMG, you name it, we've been in it.
which is really, really
so
cool.
Lucky.
We're so lucky.
Yeah, so lucky.
And worked in a few other supercars along our time. I know I've been in Lamborghinis and stuff before, Charlotte. But lots of AMG stuff. But so I started in karting as well. Sort of did that. Got to kind of a world level karting. Moved on to car racing in single seaters. So Formula Renault. Bit of Formula BMW testing wise, and then I've done a bit of sports car stuff since as well. So, including in Charlotte and I actually did an endurance race together a couple of times, which was good fun.
Not against
both as teammates, in the same car.
And number one rule, that's why we ended up getting married, because it wouldn't have happened otherwise. Cool, so let's have a look up at the very, very pointy end of things then, I think. I think it's fair that we give sort of Chrissy and Stallman some of their limelight that they deserve, because it is easy to kind of run away with sort of the middle of the grid, but Chris has pulled it back a little bit.
He has pulled that gap in.
Yeah, he's pulled about half a second back there. So I mean, is this going to be the same as race 1, where Stallman did manage to get a gap very early? Like we say, Dom Stallman's got this, you know, massive way of, we don't know how he does it, but lap 2, 3, 4, he manages to pull a gap. But sometimes you see him drop off a little bit towards the end, which is obviously kind of what happened in race 1, which allowed Chrissy Palmer to get in front of him. But be interesting to see, because Chrissy is looking pretty El Lito, isn't he, there?
Yeah, no, looking good.
Very, very
And actually, they've just taken 3 temps between both of them guys out of the leader of Borges as well. So that AMG looking like it's just losing a couple of temps in the last lap or 2. That might have been by driver error and a little mistake, or it might mean that already he's just finding the tyres aren't gripping quite so well and letting the other guys get into the fray. I mean, they're doing 41.4s. Yeah, that's a fantastic lap time to be doing during a race. Still only 10 minutes in, so we're on the higher fuel levels for the moment. So we've got a little bit more fuel in the car. They've got the tyres set to go that little bit longer, and yet they're doing some really, really strong lap times. So something happened to Jack Taylor then a tad further down. Perhaps we'll just have a quick look on the leaderboard. I don't want to drop this menu too much, drop this battle too much. Yeah, he's dropped back potentially in the pits or a lap down after whatever happened to him. Liam Sharman on the gin in 23rd, Heath down in 21st, Billy Page 20th. So yeah, definitely a few incidents. A few guys had a bit of bad luck in the dark, I would say. But okay, this battle's still raging on then with Stallman and Chrissy. And worth noting that actually the guys they're in a Discord chat with each other, some of them, although we're getting to the point now where there's, I think, best part of between 15 and 20 drivers in there sometimes, maybe not quite 20, but certainly close to that, and they can't all kind of sit in one chat because it gets too noisy, but they do talk to the kind of their teammates, particularly, they'll have in the chat with them in our Discord server, the InGear Motorsport Discord server, and then they can chat away and kind of mention, oh, I'm on your inside, or keep an eye out for other cars that are around each other, and just basically act as an extra spotter and an extra sort of bit of support during the race. So a few of them doing that. Certainly the Sheep Garage guys will be chatting away, as will Fellas Racing. Then Heath has Sharman for West Midlands Racing. The two Stallmans, they don't really say a lot, our German pair, Roland and Don Stallman, father and son. They are just getting on with it, yeah, most of the time, getting the job done in relative silence. Chrissy's also not a man of many words, also just gets his head down and puts the laps in. So 1.1 seconds off of D Stallman now, and they're both, D Stallman's 1.2 off of Borges. So I think in the next sort of 5-10 minutes, you're going to see a battle start happening for the win of this race, which is going to be quite interesting to see how that shapes up. Involved.
I think Chrissy and Stallman, though, they're clever enough to know to almost work together initially to make sure that they're not scrapping between themselves so early on that it allows the leader to get a massive, massive gap, because you see that happen quite often. So what they'll probably do is they both know they're there or thereabouts on the same pace. Yeah, I mean, Chrissy's just taken another 2 tenths out of Stallman there now, so he's closed that gap down to only being 8 tenths off of him. But he's not stupid. He'll sit there, he'll wait, he'll pick his time, he'll want to be edging that gap closer to the AMG. So are we going with Borges as the name?
Yeah.
I'm the world's worst person at pronouncing names, so don't mean to offend anyone, but they'll be sitting and waiting, which is not an unsensible thing to do at all, I don't think.
No, not at all, not at all. And that's a big part of racing is, as much as it's going fast and as fast as you can, there is a certain amount of logic to it, almost a bit like a game of chess. When do you make your move? When's the best time? So that's what's happening at the front three at the moment. So we'll probably leave them to that for a minute. Let's see how Steves, Clemson and Kid Murray, all that kind of little gaggle. It's just a couple places down. LaHaye's not one of the main ones in the middle there between this, kind of in no man's land between everyone. Steves then has actually got to the front of this little pack into 5th place now. So good solid points for him. Good solid points for Fellas Racing, with Clemson being one behind him, his teammate. Then you've got Kid in 7th, who's the first Sheba Garage car now, so he's got ahead of Murray. Or did earlier on. Danny Price had that incident, otherwise he would have been around this little pack as well. So yeah, a bit unfortunate then for Danny in both races so far tonight, you could say. And it's going to get close to that time, people, where we need to think about driver of the day vote. I have no idea how you try and make sense of that after the many different battles and drives and efforts that people have been putting in so far, but we'll start opening that up now as we're getting to halfway race, free race distance. So basically, these guys that are racing with us every week, it's part of a championship series. We've got 4 tracks, 7 races. This is the second of those races, so we'll be back next week with the next 2. But every single round on race night, you can vote, and the winner gets a championship point. So you may well just become their best friends for doing that, or you may already be their girlfriends in Paulina's case. But
Holly.
and Holly as well, yeah. So we've got Holly and Paulina, the girlfriend club, watching along with guys. So basically, you can vote for whoever you want, but I'm sure we can have a good guess for a couple of them, and they'll potentially give them a championship point. Which, as I say, that can make a massive difference later on in the series, which is good to see.
Yeah. So yeah, with 15 minutes to go there, I just think it's worth pointing out again because we very briefly spoke about it front, but Stallman and Chrissy Palmer, they're both running with extra ballast, so extra weight. So Chrissy with an extra 10 kilos in his car and Stallman with an extra 5 kilos. So I do think we need to give credit where it's due. The fact that these guys, they've had more weight put in their car and they're still at the front end of the grid. So.
Yeah, and the only downside for them is that's going to get harder and harder because it stacks up until they finish off the podium. But such is the way that we get close racing. Lots of championships do it, British touring cars do it, some GT series do it for that very reason. But yeah, so riding on board with Steve still at the moment.
I'm just having a little giggle to some of these comments that are coming through. You guys do you. You can be the girlfriend. I mean, the girlfriend club, I think, is going to become a very exclusive club. We might have to get our own chat going at some point, I think.
And because this is on YouTube, Facebook and Twitch, you may not see everyone's comment, but Phil's basically taken the role of Kirk's girlfriend for tonight, and Ian's taken the role of Sharman's girlfriend for tonight.
I like it. It's commitment.
Yeah, I like it. So, I mean, guys, do I take that as a vote then? Is this a vote, or are you just announcing something to us?
Cool. So why things are just settling down, I'm saying they're settling down. I think they're as settled as they're going to be for a little time because Chrissy's actually dropped off from 8 tenths off of Stallman to 1.6. But actually, Stallman's now... both of them really in the grand scheme of things have gained to only be 7 tenths off of P1 there. I do think it's probably, I don't want to say the wrong thing now, is it the time to just quickly jump down while we've got 13 minutes left to see what the rest of the crew are doing?
Let's do it. Let's see how Dan Cedro and Jack Taylor, and Jack Taylor I know has left the race now, I think, because he got crashed into. Danny Price up into 10th. Now, he was definitely lower than that before, so that's a good comeback. That's currently really good points on the board, so that's good. Roland Stallman, we must have missed something there because he's out of place down in 13th as well.
Very out of place for him.
This is where we need to get George back in on the replays, you see. Billy Page up into 15th then, so he has made progress from where he was. Sort of down, I think it's like 18th, 19th earlier on, so he's climbed back up a little bit.
And he's got Heath behind him as well. Now, Heath is always a really good one. Well, not good to have behind you because he's a really good racer, isn't he? He's not scared to put a move in. Sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't, but such is life when it comes to racing. So, yeah, it's good to have a little check-in and see how Heath's doing. And Heath's there in the McLaren versus the Lamborghini. Like I said, we're leaning into the screen massively here. I think our noses are probably a couple of inches away from the screen there, just trying to work out who's who on there. And then who's Heath got behind him? Yay! So Chloe has just jumped in on YouTube, so we know Chloe. Hi, Chloe. A vote for Jack Taylor. I love that. We all need to catch up
Good
soon.
To see you. Yeah.
Definitely. Perfect. So who's that? So that's in there. These are strange. 3 dot Parman. Is 3 a name now? I guess so.
3 dot. Yeah. This person's first name is literally the number 3. Yeah. In 16th place.
So let's drop the camera back just for a little minute there, and let's check in on John Kidd there. I think John's been a loyal follower, always on YouTube or Discord, keeping in with the crew, but now he's actually racing. So I think it's fair that we give him a little.
Tell you what, let's go on board with him because he's got a car in front of him. He's a little bit racy there, isn't he? Yeah, here he is. Let's a big handful of understeer there as we tuned in. Let's hopefully we don't give him too much of our commentators' curse that we seem to do to everyone normally. So I'm going to take it so far then that we've got a vote for Jack Taylor, we've got a vote for Charlotte and a vote for Heath.
And a vote for Billy.
I mean, Holly's not actually said that she's voted for Billy, but we can't assume these things.
Oh, well, she said she was down for girlfriends clubs.
Yeah, maybe we do then. Maybe we do. So yeah, we've got a couple of votes. Now the problem is, if there's a tie, we can't give anyone a point. So someone has to be a clear winner. I just have to make it crystal clear, because otherwise people shout at me when it comes to championship points. So we do need somebody to come in and settle these votes for us so that we get a winning driver of the day. But yeah, nice to see a few of you voting and commenting tonight. It always makes it better for us. So John Kidd then chasing down Mutzig in a BMW. You don't see many people take the BMW in this game. One of 11 manufacturers that you can take in the Assetto Corsa Competizione, just like the World Challenge GT Championship in the real world. There is that cheater corner. Don't want to hit the sausage curb on the inside, and he didn't, as we see a car going into the pits there. That's potentially another place for John. Finds the apex. That lap, the car didn't understeer quite so bad as the lap before, so that's looking a bit more solid. He's having a great time chasing down on Mutzig right now, and you're just looking for any sort of 10th here or there that you can. We'll try and keep an eye on that, as we are with all the other battles as we go along. Sharman's behind him by a couple of places, and then Logan Dennis just quickly before we jump back, as John has a bit of a moment. So Logan Dennis in 20th then. Let's just drop back to the other Cupid Shunt driver. I didn't swear at him. He's in a team called Cupid Shunt, along with Billy Page. These two actually met on our Discord, which is quite cool. So there's Logan Dennis. I think we might have just seen him pulling over just now, doing something. I just saw a Shiba garage car, I'm sure, somewhere near him in the midst of the pixelated darkness that is my commentator screen. I was just ahead. Potentially, I think you've got a couple of people coming through then. Yeah, they were just lapping. And I think that's an interesting thing to see, because Logan actually had enough pace to be mid-pack, as did Daniel Cedro. You know, I know he seems like a lovely guy. He's been putting a lot of time into practice on the server and stuff in the weeks, capable of solid lap times. But when you have to put it into a race distance, you can't underestimate how difficult it is.
Yeah, it's really difficult. And I think you see this a lot, and I think that's one thing that's sort of sticking with a championship like this, and it's something that, from our point of view and commentating on it, we really enjoyed watching, was last championship, so the GT4 championship. You see these drivers really come on leaps and bounds. So, you know, the guys that may be a little bit further to the back at the moment, they won't stay there for long, because, it's that funny old saying, but the more you do, the better you get. And racing experience is very different to putting in these fast lap times. So, they just got to stick with it, basically.
Yeah, as you see Logan Dennis coming onto the back of Sharman now. Well, he's on the timing screens, but it doesn't look like that in the real world. I think we've had a bit of a mix-up of liveries or something, because that's definitely not Sharman. No, I think that's just where stuff's getting that. But anyway, I've just noticed for Daz Bolt 8. Daz Bolt's basically come in and given Heath another vote. So currently Heath's got another driver of the day.
Got my little tally chart going
after getting punted down to 20th and now having a good recovery drive, which to be fair he has. He's in 15th after getting punted off, like you say.
Got my racing number as well. Always a good thing. 38.
Just really Ian
just while you're having a little look at that, I think we should probably go back up to the pointy end of the grid. I can't remember that Stallman was only 7/10 off of that leader at that point, and he's now brought that down to 3/10. So I'm quite pleased with my time in there, because I feel like that's probably gonna be a good thing. And he's all over. That was
great timing as they go through the kink, the corner that's not a corner, turn 1, dropping down potentially.
It's down to 1.74. Ooh.
Very, very close between these two. Chrissy then is in striking distance to pick up the pieces as well.
Chrissy's not stupid here as well. He knows how to just kind of pick up the aftermath of that situation. So yeah, he's 1.5 seconds off there, but he's not slow. We've seen that. He's carrying a little bit more extra ballast there as well than Stallman. And let's not forget, he beat Stallman in race 1, so he's got that 10 kilograms. Stallman's got that 5. So.
Yeah, Chrissy's racing with that little bit more weight, you're right. Steve 16 seconds back then, so the top 3 very much in their own little world right now.
This could all come out very well for Steve's, because, we've seen this happen before with the top 3 having a battle, and Stallman's looking for a move. That AMG is making itself very, very wide at the moment. He's doing a really, really good job there, because I was expecting, we kind of don't know when we go into these races what's going to happen with the light. Also, Stallman's pushing hard now, so he's run off a little bit wide there, which has given Chrissy a bit more of an opportunity.
Screen goes. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, that's given Chrissy back in then. So that's the rear view of Borges in the lead at the moment, which would have had a Porsche all over the back of it if we didn't see what was actually a very uncommon mistake as they go through the kink of turn 1 and then drop into the hairpin of Crowthorne. Perhaps you want to be doing this camera angle, but one further back, please, because then we'll see what Chrissy has to say to Dee Stallman.
Yeah, so Stallman's only... So that... You haven't done your saying yet today, Mackenzie.
You don't pay for a mistake once, you pay for it twice.
It's taken till 9:20 at night for you to say that. I'm surprised at that. Oh, I'm pretty sure it's that.
Max Hawks.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's
Chloe's rallying the troops to get another vote. So it's now,
Go on, Chloe.
It's now 2 votes for Jack Taylor for driver of the day and 2 votes for Heath. But Ian Ward hasn't actually given his official vote yet, as he's clearly stated.
Ian's doing what I do with football teams and voting for the winner. So, who do you support?
Ian's holding all the cards right now. And just to clarify, 1 vote for Billy Page as well from Holly. So we've got a few drivers being voted for at the moment, but currently 2 tying on 2 points. So we need a 3rd point from someone if they're going to win the point. As Dee Stallman and Chrissy having a bit of a look at each other here. Chrissy on the orange car following behind the Porsche that we're riding on bid. So Porsche on Porsche. But there's a Mercedes ahead of these two. To be honest, with 5 minutes on the clock, they're going to struggle to get to that Merc if they fight too much amongst themselves. But it is that point in the race that these two have a championship to fight for. They're going to want every point they can, especially at this stage of the championship. They just want to push, push, push. And Chrissy will be trying to do everything he can to get past.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he brought that down to a 10th, isn't he? So, again, I'll keep banging on about it, but he's got more weight in that car. They're running exactly the same car there, and as I've just said, that it's just dropped off a tiny bit. Only 3 attempts though, and I think we're talking about 3-4 attempts as if it's a huge amount of time. It's not. You know, can't click your fingers that quickly in the reality of it all.
Yeah, and I've just noticed as well that Neil Kidd is 3 tenths behind Clemson, so that'll be another battle that's probably about to happen any moment. I kind of don't. We've got to make sure we see what happens with the front 3 more so. But if we get a chance, then that's probably something to look at as well. So Dee Stallman's just taken 4 tenths out of the leader. And pulled himself another few tenths out in front of Chrissy. So I actually think that is a good time just to jump a few cars back, see what Neil Kidd's got to say on the back of Clemson, and gauge where the rest of that pack's at. Because so Murray's dropped back 3.6 seconds. Look at that. Okay, running up the start-finish straight then. You've got the Ferrari of Neil Kidd on the Porsche of Clemson. What's going to happen here then? I actually think they were heading into Sunset Bend there. It's so hard to see on this screen at night. Yeah. Okay, so we're about halfway around the lap here. There's a hairpin coming up in a few corners' time that potentially would give Kidd the opportunity. You can see in the background there, that's Murray with Price. So Danny Price back up into the points. Great drive from him to do that. Speaking of great drives, great effort by Chloe, because you've clearly got somebody else in here now. So Jack Taylor, currently in the pit lane, is looking like he's going to win driver of the day, which is pretty impressive. Good stuff. But, you know, he got punted off. That's what driver of the day's for.
Formula One. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he had a really good first race, dragging it up, you know, higher up from his grid position, which was cool as well, despite getting a bad start. So, yeah, great debut from him. I think, do you know what, the newcomers have done a good job as these two go neck and neck. Clemson and Kidd this is then, so Kidd's still trying to find a way past. Now these two, unless they changed it before we came on, they're talking in our Discord while we started, so they're about to hear each other. So Kidd will probably say on your left, on your right, just to let Clemson know that he's coming. And basically,
I'm not actually in their chat, which I'm almost tempted to jump in, but I don't want to distract them with their mates.
And it's that chat being our Discord service. Kidd looks to the inside, but gives a little bit of a switchback, potentially going to try and get the cutback coming out of turn 1. Doesn't look like he's going to make that work this time, but certainly you can feel it's the closing stages of this race here, and that's going to be solid points for Kidd that he's going to need after Fellas took a good points haul in race 1. You've got Steez in the other Fellas car in 4th at the moment, so Kidd could really do with just splitting them up points-wise, because LaHaye isn't part of our championship, so he's a guest driver for this one, but yeah, these guys are all really racing for points that are going to count in the long run.
And that's team championship. So we're doing a driver championship, but also a team championship. I don't know if we've even had time to talk about that today, but yeah.
That will be currently led by Vega Sim Performance, because Roland and Don got good points in race 1. And then Chrissy potentially in second, but then it was only Chrissy, so I'm not sure. It'll be that or Sheba or Fellas. But yeah, the Fellas Sheba battle is going to be close already, I can just tell. We've got to make sure with the minute to go that we don't miss the battle for the lead as well.
Yeah, I think we very, very quickly jumped there because my timing was good earlier, so I'm just going with that.
Okay, so Chrissy, 4 attempts back.
They're both so tight.
Final lap of the race. Why don't we spend this on board with the Porsche of Chrissy Palmer? What do we reckon?
You nearly said AMG then.
I did. Force of habit. So here we go then. This is Chrissy Palmer. Number 99, InGear Motorsport, chasing down D. Stallman, Vega Sim Performance, as we enter turn 3 of this lap. Then you can see the leader, Borges, has got 1 more lap to do. Commentators, Kerr strikes again. Chrissy goes round. He's got 16 seconds to get that going again. That's going to be the next car coming, which is D's, I think. But I think that might be a back marker. Okay, where's he going to feed back in? I think he's held on to his position for the moment. He's still on the podium. Who's that going around the outside? I think that's still a back marker. Okay, Chrissy manages to have a spin and still get going again in the same position, but won't be able to challenge for the win.
I couldn't even talk then, sorry.
I was laughing at his misfortune. That's outrageous behaviour.
That was a nervous laugh.
Well, Lena says that she needs Danny to finish this race in
I know. That'll be
That's
so
a very good point.
Yeah, I just saw that.
For anyone just joining, we've got a girlfriend in the chat here who's celebrating her 8th year anniversary with Danny Price, and here he is racing. I mean, nice to see he's got his priorities, right, Paulina? But at least he's finished 8th, potentially twice.
And that's actually a really good result as well.
Considering we've had 30 cars on the pit both times.
Really good result.
Right, let's catch Borges crossing the line then, which is going to be happening any moment. D. Stallman's really pushing, but he's going to run out of time and tarmac to get the job done, it would seem. So, Borges takes the win for race 2, round 2 of our InGear Motorsport GT3 Championship. D. Stallman comes second. Chrissy should come home in third, providing he kept it on the track for the rest of the lap. Yes, he will. Still 5 seconds clear. So that will put D. Stallman and Chrissy neck and neck on points, having a second and a third, and then a third and second each, respectively. So really, really close for the Drivers' Championship after round 1, that's going to be. Then we have got Steez coming in 4th, if we could keep it so we can see everyone crossing the line. LaHaye 5th, Klimpson 6th, Kidd 7th then, wasn't able to get past Klimpson so far, although it's hard to tell whether who's finished the laps and who haven't in the dark. That's them 2 there, looks like they're coming in, yeah, they're good. And the way the race direct has a click through is in position order, so it doesn't always jump around very nicely. So nothing we can do about that, sadly, but there you go. So Kidd 7th, Price 8th, Murray 9th, and Spinras 10th. Roland Stallman 1 place out of the points. Billy Page back into 12th after being down in at least 18th earlier on. So again, a solid result for someone who's potentially not raced in the night before in this game and certainly is new to it all anyway. So fantastic job by him. But Paulina, there you go. Danny came 8th in both races to celebrate your 8th anniversary. I mean, what more could you ask for?
That's so cute. Sorry, I'm doing an Instagram post. I'm just like, I literally love that.
Well, I know what I need to do on our next anniversary then.
Come second. Oh, well, I don't know. Yes, wedding anniversary or whatever.
Well, it depends which one you count.
Wow.
I've probably got a more chance if you count total years. So I can finish lower down then. Looks like we're having a little bit of an issue with comments coming through, which is a bit of a pain right at this point in time. But it does look like, everyone, that
it's Mr. Jack Taylor.
That Mr. Jack Taylor gets driver of the day. So well done, Jack. I'm so pleased about that.
Not biased at all there, no?
No, not biased at all.
Right, okay, yeah, cool.
Not biased at all. Great name.
Yeah, Taylor.
Racing under InGear Motorsport.
Taylor.
Yeah, racing under InGear Motorsport. You know, what more do you want? Well, that was a fair amount of action, really, wasn't it? We did say it was all going to get a bit tight towards the end, and then it did. Just out of interest, who would you have given that to if you had to vote?
That's a really... Do you know what? I think if we have to do it out of pure results, I'd probably... I'm not very decisive with that. I'd probably say Chrissy Palmer, because he finished only one place behind Stallman and he was carrying more weight, and it's the same car, if that makes sense. So I'd probably go with that. But at the same time, I think Billy did really well. First race, Jack did really well. Liam did really well. So
Chloe celebrating in our chat. We've got screens everywhere for everyone, so we can see what the message is.
If I'm texting, it's because I'm doing social media and stuff like that as well. So do you know what though? I think for me, I'm super excited going into round not 2, so rounds 3 and 4 next week. I think that's going to be really, really good. I think some of the guys are maybe going to learn from some of the mistakes a little bit. Some people are going to calm down, but it's Bathurst. It's not an easy track.
That is a good point.
And I'm going to say it, and this is not me, but I think it might even stuff out a little bit. Because if you remember back to the last time that was at Bathurst, Stallman struggled. Dom Stallman struggled, and Roland Stallman, so the father out of the Fast Enduro, did really, really well. So...
That is true. Although, because Dom actually dropped a wheel on the grass and had a big off there last time, didn't he? So that's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I might try and grab a couple of the drivers for an interview in a minute if you're wondering whether to stick around or not. So feel free to do that. I'll see who I can get just to have a quick chat to, see how the race went for them. But a couple of weeks' time, if not, like Charlotte says, we'll be out in Bathurst. Same thing again on Tuesday. Thank you, Paulina. You're welcome.
Yeah, it was difficult.
That was a difficult one, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. These night races kill me.
We're trying to work out how we can look at different stuff and things like that, but I've got pages of notes of just scribbles at the moment trying to keep up with everything.
This is, and if you're someone watching thinking I quite fancy a go, then you can also do that as well. So search for InGear Motorsport, go to ingearmotorsport.com, but below us as well, should mention about our Discord. It's all free to join, so you can basically come in, join the community, and I think, like you said, it's growing a little bit, and it's felt like it's kind of gone up a little bit of a notch, hasn't it? Gaining traction. I like it. We love a good pun here. Just chewed out at that moment.
What I would say is, well, if anyone's got any questions or anything like that about it, then just message us on Instagram, so at InGear Motorsport, and we can, if you don't want to just go straight into the Discord, but you've got some questions or whatever, or you're just interested in viewing it and not racing, and I don't know, then just DM us and one of us will get back to you.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag up who is joint leading the championship then. Now after that is Chrissy Palmer. So let's bring him up for a little chit chat, and you should be able to hear him, providing that race director's still awake in the background.
He's had so much Monster, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's full of Monster. Chrissy, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Hello, bud. Not bad. How are you?
Yeah, there he is. I wasn't sure he was going to ghost us on chat.
No, sorry. I was just relaxing for a sec.
Yeah, that was nuts. I mean, it's trying to see in these night races is bonkers, isn't it? How was that for you?
Yeah, it was a great race. I really enjoyed it, actually. I'm dripping a little bit from the adrenaline that was involved in that race.
And I don't know even if you're like aware of the ballast rules that we kind of run for this series now, but do you even know you were running with 10 kilograms of ballast for that race?
I didn't until some of the guys started talking about it.
I thought that. Now, would you rather have not known, or would you have rather known?
Pass.
I think I'd rather not know.
Can I just say, I'm going to go back to my driver of the day thing then, Chrissy. So I said you would have been my driver of the day, but I don't think I'm allowed to vote because I don't think that's fair.
We're not allowed to vote. We'll get accused of being biased.
That even more so makes me think you're driver of the day, because I was saying how you was running on more weight and stuff like that. So well done to you.
I'll go with the. I took a bit of fuel out just in case.
So you and Dom kind of had a race, second and a third each. So you'll be joint leading the championship after that. Couple things. So it seems we mentioned driver of the day. Jack Taylor actually got it in the end. So Chloe came on and started rallying the troops and got a few votes in for him.
Oh, mega! So great. Anyway, it's his first race.
Yeah, which is really cool, isn't it? So he's got driver of the day. how do you fare at Bathurst? I can't remember if we both raced there, but that's the next race next week.
I think he was there.
I seem to remember enjoying it, but crashing a lot.
It's easily done around there, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna start practicing as I am now joint with Stormer.
That was my next question. Are you going to be practicing?
Yeah, I need a setup. I'll put it quite good this time, but I'm going to try even harder next time.
I can share mine, but it seems to burn the tyres after about 5 laps, which is no good for 30 minutes.
Have you got a Porsche one?
Oh, yeah, because it was AMG last time I was there. No, yeah. But we'll see what we can work out. I'll get on for some laps with you.
Yeah, I've got to say the Porsche is quite nice to drive as well. It's quite fun.
Oh, good. You're feeling it a bit more now. Actually, yeah. How is it different then? Just last question, and then I'll let you go and recover properly. How does it differ?
You seem to have to be on the power through the corner rather than off the power, then back onto it afterwards. It's a bit of a weird one. It seems to get more grip when you get back on the power. It's fun. Yeah. It's fun, but it takes a little bit of getting used to.
Cool. All right, mate. Well, thank you very much. I'll let you go back down and grab some rest, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, my arms are hurting from the wheel. I'm not going to lie.
Good stuff. All right, catch you later, dude.
Thanks a lot, bud.
Bye. Okay, right, that is Chrissy out of the way. Now, I just wonder whether Danny's still here, but I think he's already gone. He probably anticipated what I was thinking. I'm not being blind, am I? No. Danny Price has left the building, everyone. He's probably gone to instantly finish his actual 8th anniversary now with Paulina, and spend some time with his girlfriend. I don't know what you're laughing at. Maybe they're going to have a nice dinner together.
Well.
Is that Ben in the background sipping some Monster I can hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ben, you need to put the can down. It's not good for you. Okay, everybody. Well, look, that was a load of action. Definitely would have helped having some replays in the dark there, but I think we managed to get through it, didn't we? That was intense stuff. Great showing just one more time to our newcomers of John Kidd, of Billy Page, Logan, and Jack Taylor, all in there as well, and Daniel Cedro. Didn't get to see too much of some of them, but we definitely saw everyone at least a little bit, which was good, and everyone was kind of in there in the thick of it. So well done to everyone. Well done, of course, to the regulars, and again, Chrissy and Dom right at the sharp end. We'll be putting the results out across socials and in our Discord fairly soon in the next few days.
I just put some of the results up on our story, but yeah, we'll put the main stuff up on our actual.
Nice efficiency.
I'll try.
So, any last words from you?
Just really excited for next week.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
I really am as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, we will finish with excitement then, and hopefully see you
thanks
soon.
to our new viewers as well, because you made that really fun as well. We like having new people.
Yeah, that was good, actually. Yeah. So everyone that comes on and comments, we really do appreciate it, and liking and subscribing and all that stuff. I know everyone says it on YouTube and these things, but it is really, really helpful. So thank you very much one last time. Thank you to Ben in the background doing all the race director stuff that we give him jip for. But yeah, thanks guys, and we will see you soon.
I'm hot, light up a roller coaster.
There we go, green lights, and we're off once again. Is gone.